Hello and welcome back, everyone. Thanks for joining me. I had a little week hiatus, much needed, but I am back. And today I'm going to talk about 3 influential male gardeners that I see as influential, although there is many of them. I will be doing a video on female gardeners next. But as far as gardening and men is concerned, at least in the States, gardening can be seen as something primarily done by women, and men themselves are like, oh, guys don't do that. But if you have to look at gardening and the history of it, gardening was something that men used to showcase their power, ambition, exercise their will, even if it's on nature itself. So, if you're a guy and you're watching this, and you're debating about getting into gardening, just do it. Whether it be vegetables, trees, flowers, doesn't matter. Create your own little world. So the 3 men I have chosen, it was tough, there is a lot of them, is Lancelot Capability Brown, Christopher Lloyd, or better known as Christo, and if you watch any Gardener's World, I would have to go with Monty Don. That was a close one between him and a few other people as well. So Lancelot Capability Brown, he got his nickname Capability because he would go to the owners of the property, his clients, and tell them that the property had the capability to become something great or good. Now, Capability Brown, he created roughly 170 parklands. I'm talking he would divert rivers, dig trenches to create lakes, knock down buildings, put up new buildings, put up fake ruins. And what he did was he didn't start the landscape movement. That honor goes to William Kent. But he really helped propel it. So instead of having those restrictive, extremely formal gardens, he brought the landscape to the house. Now, you wouldn't think that is some sort of feat, but looking at it from a gardening standpoint, you have to look at it from an artist's eye. Okay, I'm gonna put this clump of trees here or leave those clump of trees there. I'm gonna take everything out. I'm gonna add a hill here. He was an artist in and of himself. The way he looked at everything and designed it. Also with what Brown did was the house wasn't the focal point of the garden. The house was part of the garden. So it wasn't nothing was overpowering the other. It was all something seamless, harmonious garden. And he really pushed that forward. And you see in parklands today, his influence that he had. And another benefit from going into landscape gardens, my lips are getting dry, is it was both economical and productive for the landowners. Less overhead cost, you can run cattle on it, and it was also beautiful. So beautiful and functional, and without Brown doing that, I don't know if we would have the parklands today. One interesting thing I have seen from Capability Brown as well, just closing this out, is he was at Chatsworth out in the UK, Chatsworth, employed him. Now, the house is still standing, but what Capability Brown did is he created an enormous glass greenhouse. I mean, it was revolutionary at the time. It helped inspire the Palm House at Kew. But he created this enormous glass greenhouse, engineered it himself. So you could grow plants in the winter, grow palms, and it was quite revolutionary for the time. Now, moving on. Now, Christopher Lloyd, or better known as Christo, reading his books really inspired me to change my writing style and just write the way I want to write. I have a book right here because if you look at most gardening books, he hated like the list of plants, stuff like that. He made it entertaining. And even some books now in the horticulture world are not entertaining at all. They're kind of bland sometimes. I have one book as well as The Well-Tempered Garden by him. It's called Color for Adventurous Gardeners. I'm going to read you one from Broken White as far as a color. A great burden of unsullied purity is borne by the color white. Cold, staring, and assertive, it draws your eye, but makes you wish it had it. This is a gardening book. So, he was a fabulous writer. And he really helped put Great Dixter on the map. Great Dixter was bought by his parents, and his mother encouraged him to encouraged him in the garden. He was always with his mother. But his writing and the way he writes really put, like I said, put Great Dixter on the map. And to him, no plant was out of bounds. So he would try any plant. He wasn't snobbish about them. He helped bring back dahlias, cannas, verbena. Now these are plants that weren't used since the Victorian times, and he helped bring them into the future and make them popular again. And he's someone that also looked at foliage as well. So a lot of people, especially if you're a younger gardener, you always look at the flower, but what happens when that flower is gone? You're left with the foliage. So he was a big proponent of foliage, as well as pushing the limits of color combinations with the different colored flowers. Why can't you put orange with pink or blue and pink? And he tried it, and I'll tell you what, you should experiment yourself, because you'd be amazed at what you can accomplish just by just doing your thing and making the garden your own. Now, another gardener, if you watch gardening shows at all or read books, is Monty Don. Now, it's another gardener that has helped me, as well as millions of other gardeners as well, and get them into it. I remember watching him in Afghanistan, of all places, and he really pushed my gardening bug, made me really want to start this nursery and get it going. Monty Don is known for his garden at Longmeadow, as well as all his books and being a presenter on Gardener's World. He's just has that air about him where everyone just seems, if you watch him, you'll most likely love him. I almost have no doubt about that at all. And it's just the way he presents everything. But he's really made gardening popular again, as far as the fan base, if you want to call it a fan base, that he can garnish. It's just, like I said, how he does everything. He's making gardening popular again among, it's typically seen as, I mean, he's an older man as well, but something that older people do. Well, guess what? More and more younger people are doing that. And he's really inspired a lot of people to take up gardening. Now, before he gardened or became a well-known gardener, he was well-known in the jewelry field. Him and his wife had a jewelry shop, and they would design jewelry, and that was going great until it wasn't. He eventually got into gardening, and that was that, and he's an extremely popular gardener now. Another thing too is he pushes organics, just trying not to use peat. So he's trying to make gardens more sustainable. And I liked one thing he said too: gardens are not about plants, they're about people. It's almost like a whole Christopher Lloyd thing, but it's true if you think about it. The way Monty really talks to people, because a garden is personality. It is a reflection of who created it, whether it was planted by that person that wanted that garden or not. The reflection is of the person itself. It's of the place. It is of the country. A garden is ever changing, and Monty Don, I think, is going to continue to lure new people into gardening, and I hope he does, because it is a great hobby, great pastime, good livelihood, and it's just amazing what you can create. So those are our three: Lancelot Capability Brown, someone that really pushed and pioneered landscape gardening; Christopher Lloyd, no plants out of bounds, do what you want to do, and a really great writer. Then you have Monty Don, who is an organic gardener, and who is really pushing really bringing gardening to this time, that 2022. So, and he's been doing it a long time, and just making it more and more popular to do. So that is it, everyone. Thanks for joining me, and until next time, bye-bye.